This used to be just one 2x10, and today I'm gonna show you the complete guide on how to build it. Let's go. So let's get this thing cut up. First thing we're gonna do is take the whole piece over to the miter saw. We're cutting one piece at 40 inches long. Our next piece is 20 inches long, and the final piece is 14 inches long. All right, we got one at 40, one at 20, one at 14, and this one is about 22 inches left over. Push this aside for now. So you're gonna take your 40-inch piece, take it over to the table saw. So the first thing you're gonna do with that 40-inch piece is strip down 4 pieces that are 1 inch wide. So you're gonna end up with 4 pieces just like this, 1 inch wide, 1.5 inch thick, and 40 inches long. Then you're gonna take one of them over to the miter saw, cut it at 38 inches. Put that aside, you can sell that as a block to paint. That'll go for 400 bucks on Etsy. Then you're gonna take another one and you're gonna cut 2 pieces that are 18 inches long off of that. And then the other 2, you can just leave at 40. After you've cut those 4 1-inch strips and you've cut them all down, now we're gonna take the remaining piece from that 40-inch long cut and we're gonna cut 2 pieces at 14 inches. This is the other cut we cut at 14 inches already, so I'm going to use this to get that exact measurement. Make those 2 cuts. So now we've got those 2 pieces at 14. Go ahead and put those with your other 14-inch piece, because those are all going to be the same thing. The leftover from that piece you can throw with the other scrap piece we've got so far. And now we're going over to our 20-inch piece. So this one is gonna be your legs. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna line up a ruler to the edge and we're gonna make a mark at 1 inch on one side. Then we're gonna come to the opposite side and we're gonna make a mark at 3.5 inches. Now we're gonna take something with a straight edge, like this track saw we've got here. We're gonna line up those 2 lines to each other and draw a line. So now, from that 1 inch mark, we're gonna go 3.5 inches away. And then from this 3.5 inch mark over here, we're gonna make a mark 1 inch. Now we're gonna connect those 2 lines. So now we're using this line just like it was the edge of the board. We're gonna measure 3.5 inches from here, and then 1 inch from this side. Connect those 2 points again. And then this one you don't even have to measure because that's your other leg. So how we're going to cut out these legs is pretty simple. I've got this 4-inch piece of scrap of 1/4 inch ply and it is about 20 inches long. It doesn't quite go from edge to edge on that diagonal line, but that's okay. It doesn't need to go all the way through. What I'm going to do now is on this first line I made, I'm going to put this right up against that line and then I'm going to actually screw this piece into that board. Make sure that the screws you use are not bigger than 1/2 inch, but make sure that you sink them underneath the plywood, because now we're gonna run this through the table saw. And what we're gonna do now is set your rip fence the exact distance away from your blade as this piece of 1/4 inch ply is. So in this case, I just went ahead and I ripped the 1/4 inch ply down, and then I didn't move the fence, so this thing is perfect. And then we're gonna put the edge of the ply against the rip fence, and then we're just gonna run this through. Make sure you're using a push stick, because you don't want your hands to get close to this. And then, that is what you're left with. Go ahead, take those screws out. So now what we're gonna do with this piece, we're gonna put the flat edge of this board against a rip fence, and then we're just gonna line it up. So that line that cuts all the way down is right at the blade, and then just make your cut. So now you've got 2 of them, you've got holes in one of them, and then this one doesn't have any holes at all. Now we're just gonna do the same thing. Take your piece, line it up to that line, screw it in, cut it on the table saw. And then that very last piece is gonna be a little bit bigger with that round. So all you're gonna do, line up one of them, make a line, and then chop this part off on the table saw again. All right, now you got 4 diagonal legs, all exactly the same. Put those aside, we're gonna do something else now. All right, so now we're gonna put our frame together. We're gonna take that 38-inch piece, put it aside for now. Then we're gonna take our 40-inch pieces, put those away from each other, and butt the 18-inch pieces in between those 40-inch pieces and just make a rectangle. We're gonna glue these joints together and brad nail them together. Now we're just gonna put the 38-inch piece in the middle. So we just gotta measure that. And since it's 20 inches, we're just gonna make a mark at 10 on each side. And then we're gonna go 3/8 of an inch away on each side of that 10-inch mark. And that'll be where these line up. So just go ahead, center that up, glue it and brad nail that in as well. Here's your base, glued and brad nailed. Before you comment anything about the brad nails, don't worry, that's not gonna be the only thing that keeps these joints together. But now, we're gonna work on the slats for the herringbone. That's right, we're doing a herringbone style. It's gonna be pretty cool. Take all your pieces that are cut at 14 inches long, and then we're gonna bring them all over to the table saw, and we're gonna cut them down to 3/8 inches thick. I'll show you a couple. It's gonna take a while, so I'm not gonna show you all of it, but we're gonna cut up these 3 pieces that are already cut at 14, and that should be enough. It might not be enough, but that's okay because we have a whole other chunk of this 2x10 that we can use later if we need it. So we have 49 of these little strips that are 14 inches long, 3/8 inches wide, and 1.5 inches thick. 49 of them. I believe that will be enough. I believe. I'm pretty sure. If they're not, we do have this cut off here, which will be able to cover our edges, even though it's not a full 14 inches long. So now with those 49 pieces you've got, we're gonna put a 22.5 degree angle on the edge of every single one. That's gonna be fun. All right, so we're gonna put this to 22.5 degrees, and then we're gonna take one of our pieces, and we're just gonna cut off the very tip. Now do that 48 more times. And just to show you, those are gonna lay like that in the middle of this bar. We'll mark it later, and then we'll glue it here, and then we'll go all the way down on this side, all the way down on this side. So just go ahead, do that 22.5 degree cut on all 49 of them. I'm doing 5 at a time. I think that's safe, I don't really know, but it's faster. So we've got our 49 pieces cut, 3/8 inches long, and then they've got a 22.5 degree angle on the end. We're gonna put those aside for now, and then we're gonna come to this middle bar here, and we're gonna mark 1/2 inch, which is basically just finding the middle of this. On one side, then we're gonna do that in the middle as well, and then on this edge as well. Now we're gonna take a straight edge, and we're gonna connect all of those 3 lines we just made at 1/2 inch. So now what you're gonna do on both sides to get the herringbone on is you're gonna take the angled edge and you're gonna line it up so it butts up right to that line you just made, and it's perfectly straight there. Once we get this one down, then we'll come to this one, we'll line up to that line, and then we'll just go all the way down. So I'm just going along here, placing one, brad nailing the bottom, and then brad nailing the top every 5 or 6 pieces here. So you get the point. You do one side, you do the other side, until it looks like this. Now you've got these edges on all 4 sides to finish up. So what I did is I took one of the pieces we had, I drew a line where it meets the bottom, and then I cut that piece off. And that piece should be long enough to then put on the outside. All right, so while these are gluing up, we can go ahead and take these edges off. So what we're gonna do is take a straight edge, put it on the base of your table down there, bring it up here, and now we're gonna see where this herringbone meets this straight edge. Now we're gonna make a mark a little bit outside of that straight edge right there, and then we'll do that on the other side as well. Now we'll go on top and we'll connect those 2 points that we just drew. And that's gonna leave us about 1/8 inch to route off with the hand router afterwards, because right now we're gonna follow that line all the way down and we're gonna cut it out with the circular saw. Now just go ahead and do that on all 3 other sides. That's a lot of sawdust. We're just gonna flush trim the whole thing, get it down to the same exact width as this base here. So just go for it, go slow, and have fun. Now I'm gonna put a 1/4 inch round over on this. You don't need to if you don't want to. I'm sorry, the heat's going so it's loud. But also I wanna mention those little triangles there that I said cut out. We just put a piece there and just a scrap from the floor. And putting a weight on it for that to dry. Same on this side. That side didn't have any. So we're gonna do the round over and avoid those, and then we'll cut those off with a handsaw. All right, so here it is. John went ahead and he sanded it 120, 220, 320, and then I guess he did the top at 600. I don't know why, but he did. So like I said, we put a round over on this edge, and then we went ahead and we rounded over all of the other edges here and the corners here, and then we also rounded over these legs. So now the last thing we need to do is cut these legs at an angle, get them on the table, and then we'll be done. We also sand the legs. So, take the legs over to the miter saw. Gonna set our miter saw at 13 degrees. And then we're gonna put the flat edge up against the fence and then cut just on the edge there. Now just do that with all 4 of the legs. Once you got one angle on one side, now we're gonna cut that angle on the other side as well. And we're just gonna take off as little as possible, just like we did on the top. And make sure you cut that angle on the same way on each side. Go ahead and do that on the other 3. How I'm gonna do it just to make sure they're all perfect is I'm gonna line them up like this, move them down, bring the blade down until this top one touches, and then make that cut. Take your board, top, whatever it is, put it face down. Then we're gonna measure 5 inches in from each of these 4 corners. Now we're gonna line the back of our leg up to that 5-inch mark right there. You're gonna get some glue on the bottom, and then the side that's gonna be up against the wall. Put it up against that 5-inch line. Clamp it to the side. Then we're gonna pre-drill. Sink a screw. Take the clamp off, pre-drill there, sink another screw. And then you're just gonna go ahead and do that 3 more times, the rest of your legs. Here it is, guys. Coffee table from one singular 2x10. And let's see what we have left. We've got this left, and then this left. We put our cut list on this, but this is what we have left from our 2x10. But yeah, that's it, guys. An entire coffee table from just one 2x10. We actually made a second one. This one, the only thing that's different is I put a round over on all of those slats for the herringbone, but yeah. And I made the legs a little bit wider. I don't know how that one happened, but yeah, I made 2 of them. And I put this one up on Facebook because I made it yesterday. And in one day, it's got 150 clicks on the listing. Nobody's reached out about it yet, but it does have 100 clicks, so that's a good sign. Usually when I get that many clicks, someone will reach out in the next day or so. I put it for 100 bucks, 2x10, 15 bucks of wood. Probably took us about 3 or 4 hours to make. We posted it not stained, just wrote sanded, ready to accept paint or stain. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But that is the video, guys. A whole coffee table from just one 2x10. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below any other videos you'd like us to make. Also, a lot of you are not subscribed, so subscribe, because we make great videos all the time. Like, this is a great video, if I do say so myself. But yeah, that's it. All right. Goodbye. Guys, if you like that video, click right here. You can learn how to make a router tray, and you can click right here, make this cool optical illusion end table thing.